Imagine being 13 meters underground. The air is cold, the walls are slick with moisture, and the silence is absolute. You crawl deeper into a narrow shaft, your flashlight casting shaky shadows across ancient stone. And then, you see it. A shape, half buried in the dust. A curve. A hollow. It's a human skull. And as your light scans the ground, you realize it's not alone. Dozens of skulls. Bones. Some shattered, others perfectly preserved. And they've been lying here, untouched, for over 430,000 years. This place is called Sima de los Huesos, or the Pit of Bones. It's one of the most mysterious and significant archaeological discoveries in human history. Because what was found here wasn't just old, it changed the timeline of who we are. Our story begins in the Sierra de Atapuerca, a rugged mountain range in northern Spain. In 1976, two young explorers crawling through a cave system stumbled across a steep, narrow vertical shaft, a 13-meter drop into darkness. They called it Sima de los Huesos. At first, only a few bones were found, but over the following decades, archaeologists began excavating more deeply. What they uncovered was staggering. Over 7,000 fossil fragments, representing the partial remains of at least 29 individuals. Men, women, teenagers, even children, all buried together, all in one place. These weren't scattered bones chewed by animals or swept in by floods. The bodies had been placed, intentionally, into this pit, over and over again. The individuals found at Sima de los Huesos belonged to an extinct species called Homo heidelbergensis. Think of them as our evolutionary cousins, the bridge between more primitive ancestors and later Neanderthals. Their bones were thick and strong, their skulls had large brows and wide faces, their bodies were built for strength and endurance. And yet, they weren't exactly Neanderthals, not yet. They were somewhere in between, in transition. One skull, known as Cranium 17, had something unusual. 2 holes in the forehead. These were perimortem injuries, meaning they happened before the individual died. The wounds were symmetrical and nearly identical, as if made deliberately, by another human. This wasn't an accident. It was a blow, and then another. Scientists believe it's very likely this individual was murdered, making it possibly the oldest known homicide in human history. Let that sink in. 430,000 years ago, one human killed another. The cave shows no signs of being lived in. No fires, no tools, no food. But 29 individuals were placed there. Why? The evidence suggests this was a burial site, the earliest we know of, and among the bones was one especially mysterious item, a hand axe made of red quartzite. It wasn't used, it wasn't local, it was laid gently among the bodies. They called it Excalibur. Not a weapon, a symbol. In 2013, researchers extracted DNA from one of the femurs. It was the oldest human DNA ever successfully sequenced. But it revealed a surprise. The mitochondrial DNA didn't match Neanderthals. It matched Denisovans, a group found thousands of kilometers away in Siberia. This means early humans were migrating, mixing, and sharing genes far earlier than we thought. The family tree of humanity isn't simple. It's a complex web of shared ancestry. These individuals didn't just survive. They thought, they felt, they remembered. They might have cared for their dead. They made symbolic tools. They experienced grief, violence, perhaps even mourning. These behaviors are deeply human and much older than we assume. Sima de los Huesos shows us a moment in time when humanity started to feel like humanity. So why should we care about this ancient pit? Because it proves our emotions aren't modern. Empathy, memory, grief, they didn't start with civilization. They go back almost 500,000 years. These people didn't leave behind writing, but their bones tell a story. And that story reminds us that we've always been more than just survivors. The next time someone calls our ancestors primitive, tell them about Sima de los Huesos, about the red axe, the shattered skull, the people buried deep underground. They didn't have cities or temples, but they may have had rituals, respect, and remembrance. Even now, after 430,000 years, we remember them. Thanks for watching. If you found this story powerful, please leave a like. And if you want more untold human history, consider subscribing. Because history doesn't just start with writing. It starts with being human.